There are a tremendous amount of benefits to healing our ancestral trauma. This includes freeing generations past, gaining sovereignty over your DNA. It can build a stronger connection through familial support systems. You also have the ability to protect future generations from ancestral karma. If you're willing to clear out mass payloads of karma, it'll support you to know yourself, and it will also help you to honor and nurture your heritage. The following information is taken verbatim from foreverconsciousness.com. Saturn retrogrades from June 29 until November 15 of 2024. Saturn is considered the planet of karma. Now, as Saturn travels retrograde, it guides us to look over our past actions and see where we have avoided or perhaps forgotten to take responsibility or set boundaries. Saturn can also represent issues with masculinity, father figures, or authority. Nessus is the asteroid of ancestral healing that holds some of our darker and deeper qualities. It is linked to our shadow and to the deep generational wounds that we inherit through our lifetimes. What battles are you fighting that are no longer serving you? Where can you bring more peace into your life? How can you step up and take more responsibility for your current situation? We will explore relationships through conscious memory and how karma and consciousness weaves us through our ancestry like a patchwork quilt. Karma propels our consciousness through space and time. It pulls us forward like thread, weaving us into a patchwork quilt of ancestry within the same soul grouping. Soul groups are a larger umbrella of consciousness as opposed to your individual consciousness. Your soul is assigned to a soul group. Everyone in a soul group shares a level of collective consciousness. Therefore, everyone within the soul group influences and impresses upon everyone else's consciousness. These are your ancestors and your predecessors. Now, I talk to people and animals often about the new relationship that develops when a loved one dies and crosses over. This new form of relationship becomes much more nuanced. The obviousness of their physical presence disappears and is replaced by a void. And this void begins to be filled with memory and distance. This is where the awareness of nuance, or lack thereof, can become a fork in the road, a fork in our path. An imprint of their incarnation is also within the void. If we become aware of the influence of all of this, we begin to close the gap between us and them. Many people spend half of their life in formal education. Society accepts and embraces that humans have untapped potential, and taking action to access and cultivate this education is important. Though it is less accepted that we have great potential to take the experiences of our ancestors that's stored within us and transform it through education and practice into unique self-expression and a clear path. To a certain extent, when an individual dies, their soul is locked into their consciousness container. The genes in our body are a physical manifestation that houses consciousness. The transformation is frozen in time through DNA. When an individual incarnates and comes into this life, the genes are physically born again into a new container of consciousness. The potential of transforming the consciousness stored within the genes is now in the ability of the living individual, because the ancestor has forfeited their turn to transform and add new to the DNA. Consciousness and karma help form reality and how reality navigates. In order to own our consciousness, we need education on the accumulated karma, which are experiences and impressions within our DNA. We also need the ability to identify the signature or the owner of the consciousness. Free will choices offer you the decision to ignore the invitation to release the ancestor's consciousness, which appear as chemical marks within your genome, or to not release it. Consciousness is what navigates throughout your family line. Karma is how it navigates throughout your family line. DNA is a physical container that maps your consciousness experiencing and allows karma to continue along its path. Your opportunity is to become educated on the difference between your consciousness as free from past karma or not. You cannot claim, own, and make more of the consciousness that you house within your DNA, yours, if you do not educate yourself on how it is currently not your individual consciousness. Rather, it is just housed within you. It is being housed within your physical body. You are acting as host for it. When you heal consciousness that is locked in time into your DNA, this consciousness is returned to its rightful owner, your ancestors. And now you reclaim that much more of your body. You release obstructions and claim benefit to your ancestors' accomplishments during their incarnation. Epigenetics and transgenerational biology looks at how environmental influences children's experiences, how it affects expressions of their genes. Chemical marks accumulated in the DNA are the epigenetics. These marks determine how much or how little the genes are expressed. Different experiences children have rearrange these chemical marks. Inherited genes guide a child's development related to their temperament. This affects relationships and opportunities for learning. Experiences during development rearrange these chemical marks that govern gene expression. They change whether or how genes release the information that the genes carry. Everything said thus far equals a unique signature on the genes. Genes can be temporary or permanent, and both affect how easily genes are switched on or off. Research shows that negative changes are reversible by rewriting the story. This can be done through inner child healing, neurolinguistic applications, healthy relationships, skill building, emotional intelligence, etc. All of these can be reverse engineered so that we can correct the epigenetic chemical marks, which is also the consciousness impressed upon our genes. Eduardo Duran, PhD, wrote a book called The Soul Wound. He offers examples of healing epigenetics by having a relationship with the problems that we're having, connecting with our ancestors by efforting to understand their experiences, their traumas and choices. And this offers insight into how we were influenced and how we make our own choices, rewriting responses to trauma. When we identify the inherited cycles, we clarify what has been adopted. It is not originally our unique experience. We have choice to release what is not our independent issue. Trauma mutates consciousness. This deconstructed consciousness lives within the DNA. Because the DNA is a storehouse for consciousness. Consciousness is nuanced. Your connection to your ancestors is guaranteed through your DNA, though your ability to heal consciousness is up to you. By not choosing to do so, you will have less awareness of your consciousness and how it navigates and what makes it move, and the more regressed it will be. Some of your ancestors' trauma is still alive within your genome. The opportunity to heal self is intrinsically connected to the necessity to integrate family trauma. It is the design of incarnation and ancestry. Ancestors have nuanced access to your consciousness because their physical incarnation was forfeited. They now rely solely on consciousness to interact and engage with you. When you learn the nuances of these impressions and interactions, you cultivate relationships with them and yourself. Some ancestors support you, and some ancestors hinder you. It is the same in your physical life with people in your environment. The more you claim your consciousness, the more you free the family line. When you let go of ancestral karma, the ancestors regain these parts of them and have more ease in navigating their experience. This is because consciousness will always reintegrate to its proper place when it's released. It releases their restricted movement. Untethering the past allows us to propel forward and become more present and accounted for in our experience. This is true for all consciousness, for you and your ancestors. So learning the nuances is imperative. This is called soul recall. We follow the line of trauma and the consciousness of influence and stagnation. And then we infuse it into a cohesive consciousness and understanding. This process is explained in quantum physics. It shows us that energy changes form once it is witnessed and observed. When we observe consciousness, it alters. Then you can choose whether you want to remain limited or whether you want to propel forward. This alters your DNA. This changes your epigenetics, and this heals the ancestral line. In my Ancestral Healing course, we will learn how consciousness is utilized, the laws of exit and entry within incarnation into physical life, and soul groupings. We'll look at matriarchal influence, patriarchal influence, also accessing inherited historical memory, generational curse breaking. Another way to say that is breaking generational cycles of trauma. We will look at healing historical intergenerational trauma and also connecting with our ancestors. How to cultivate our relationships and protection from and with our ancestors. And also explore examples of various cultural ancestral heritage and beliefs. I'm going to offer you real-world application. Education on identifying what is yours and what is there, which is family patterns, is very important. We'll look to your DNA and understand how your past creates your future. DNA is fallible. It is corruptible because DNA is a recording program. Epigenetics are the summarizing and assigning mechanism. Karma is a propagation program that is partially designed to propel existence forward. What does all of this look like in real-world application? Well, for example, when my mother was 7 years old, her 12-year-old sister was a passenger on a motorcycle. She was struck by a vehicle that ran a stop sign, and she died instantly. This created a tremendous amount of suffering for the family. And because of this suffering, my mother released and abandoned her desire to play and engage gregariously with others. I learned to mimic my mom, as most children do. And I became more internal and hyper-independent in certain ways, and less community-oriented and playful. This created a deep abandonment wound. Now, my ability to realize the generational curse or family trauma and unlearn the suffering heals the trauma from moving forward as a stigma through me and my generational line. Because of this experience, I grew up with a fear of motorcycles. I also now observe my propensities to withdraw from friends, relationships, and team building. It's time for me to explore playful relationships. I can uncover these wounds and false beliefs around my choices to be disconnected from engaging and letting my guard down. I am reteaching myself how to embrace play and how to feel safe to be a part of a community and engage comfortably and consistently with friends and loved ones. The benefits of freeing these generations past and clearing our DNA allows us to navigate forward more independently and honoring what has been and what is to come. So the benefits to me healing my ancestral wounding and trauma opens me up to a life of play and joy and connectivity with wonderful people. I can connect with my ancestors and all of the people that are attracting into my life that support happiness and childlike play and youth. This will heal my generations past. I'll gain sovereignty in my DNA. It helps me to connect more with my familial support systems because I've released karma from my ancestry. This is a mass payload that I will dump. And in doing so, I'm going to honor and nurture my heritage. And because of all of this, I access more of my consciousness by clearing out karma and regaining energetic protection. So I hope that you will join us in this fascinating exploration of ancestral healing. This course starts August 3rd and runs through August 25th. It'll be 4 weeks, offered Saturday or Sunday. Pick whatever day you want to join. It's the same content both days. The early bird special investment is $240. That will end on July 22nd. Thereafter, your investment will be $280. Check it out at worldpeaceprojects.global.